What is up? Welcome to the Stat Guy Show, episode number 60. Joining me tonight is what some say, and I would agree with, the nicest guy in No Prep Kings, Mr. Scott Taylor. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Episode 60. Wow. Man, I think it was like episode 10 last time I was on.
Yeah, it's been a while. It seems like it's been about 300 episodes. Is as often as you have to do it to keep it going, man. It seems like a lot, but yeah, no, this is your third time on here, Scott. Actually, I don't know if you knew
Third
that or
time.
not.
Wow.
Third
Heck
time,
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, we have a
So,
good time every time.
yeah, I appreciate you coming on as always, Scott. So what's going on, man? So what's going on currently? I see you are getting ready for a Marty Gras
Yep.
parade. I actually have a picture here posted here. Getting ready for is that this
Awesome.
weekend? Is
Yeah,
that tomorrow? When is the
it
Marty?
is.
When is the parade?
It's tomorrow. Key Superstores, one of my main guys that help us a lot, one of our main partners, is putting the parade on. And usually this thing has 20,000 plus people at it. So it's a pretty
Oh
big
wow.
parade here in Hattiesburg. And I figured we'd put together a parade and put together a float and go show him a little bit of support. You know, he supports us a ton, and I wanted to go racing. There was a race in Gulfport, small, $10,000 to win, and like every part of me wanted to go racing, but I really need to go to this parade and see the local people, and that's sort of why we want to do it. We'll see people we hadn't seen in a year, at this parade. So.
Yeah. So you've gone to this parade before? Do you put a float in it every year?
Yep. This is the first time we actually put any effort into it, to be honest. Normally we just load the car on the trailer and go buy some beads and throw beads out. This time we actually built a little bit of a float onto a trailer and took some time and tried to do it to where it looked good.
Yeah. No. Nice. And last time I had you on, Scott, you had just started with the partnership with Right Trailers. It was fresh. You were just getting it ready. Obviously, it's been going on this whole time. How's the partnership been, and how's the business been?
Man, it has been fantastic. We partner with Right Trailers. Mike Scott is the owner, and he has been a pleasure to work with. Super nice guy. He races. I've actually been running his dragster a little bit, and we're going to race top dragster with it next weekend, the week after. So that's been fun. Plus the trailers, they have been great. Everybody's been super great and showed a lot of support. People have been driving, several states over picking up trailers, and can't thank everybody enough. People are going out of their way to buy trailers from us, and that means the world to us.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad it's going well for you. Um, Sounds like you've been busy just this week alone, but you've had a really extremely busy off season per se when it comes to your race cars. So first thing I want to talk about, let's get right into it. First thing I want to talk about is, and I got a picture, is track dough with twin turbos on it. What is going on here, Scott?
Well, there's only one way to say it. I was one of the first people to go with a Pro Charger setup. One of the first three, I'll say, and I've been with it this whole time. And the more people come to Pro Charger, the more difficult it gets. The budget, the bigger budget you have, you can go faster with any combo, and you have time to test. And there's no denying when Ryan comes to the same combo you have, and I will tell him this 100 times. It is tough to have the same combo as Ryan because he does such a fantastic job and makes it fast as possible. And budget helps, but he puts in the time, the work, and has the right
Mhm.
people in his corner. So the whole deal behind this turbo deal is go totally away from what everybody else has and try to get in my own corner and try to find a little bit of a loophole in these rules so that we can have one of the fastest cars out there.
Yeah, have you ever run twin turbos before?
I did run twin turbos just for a bit, and I had some engine troubles, and we were on such a time crunch. I had to go back nitrous, and we never had the chance to explore it again. But I actually won some races with a twin turbo setup in John Doe back in the day. That was about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. About
Okay.
8 years ago, right when we first started Street Outlaws. I put John Doe with twin turbos. The motor was all wrong. It was a 660 cubic inch motor. It run really good, but every time I would get to finals or get to four cars, something would happen. The motor would break, and It So I never really had a good shot at it, and I wasn't familiar with fuel injection systems at the time. EFI management was not my strong suit when I did that the first time. So we've learned so much with the fuel tech that I am really excited to give this a rip again.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting route to take, I would say. Especially with I would say it was probably the turbo's worst performance as a combination in No Prep Kings last year.
Yep.
So obviously, like you got your hands full with that. But I wish you the best of luck with that. But that's not the only news, Scott, that we have. Is that you have that car and that combination now, but we got another car that you call Little Goldie. It's got a awesome, looks like an awesome paint job. It's the only picture I found of it so far. You made a video. If you haven't seen the video yet, go to Scott Taylor Motorsports on Facebook. He's got a great video of it. It's like an 8-minute video showing you the whole car. But talk about Little Goldie. Talk about why you built Little Goldie, and talk about how the name came about too.
All right. So the deal with Little Goldie is it's a tribute car to my dad. He was racing when I was a kid, and his car was called Little Goldie. This is a color that my dad would just love if he was still around. And we sort of CV Customs, a friend of mine, Corey, made this color for me. He knows I like silver. He knows I like gold. So he just started mixing stuff together and came up with this color. It looks a little silverish, and then sometimes it looks gold. Sometimes it looks pewter. You know, it changes a ton. But the reason for this car, not just the name and the tribute, is I don't know if the turbo deal is going to work. I really don't. I hope it works. I'm giving it 100%. I'm buying, all the best parts. I have all the best people helping me. I've called Mark Mickey. I've bought parts from Mark Mickey.
Nice.
I got Craig Bouchard at Triangle Speed, Bad Habits Fabrication. It's turning out beautiful, and if any turbo car can do good, I think this thing is going to fly. I mean, we're giving it a valid effort, but if that doesn't go well, I took what we learned off of Tracdo and made all these little changes: 4-link, move weights around, a lot of titanium stuff, move the motor. We made all these changes that I think that's going to make huge improvements. So I think we'll go faster with Little Goldie with a Pro Charger combo than we've ever been before.
It's the same generation as Tracto, but is it the same year?
I mean, it's the same body style. I mean, obviously it was built in 2023, 2024. They're
Right.
just finishing it. It's actually still at his place. He's going to deliver it to me in a couple of days. But
Yeah, I meant body style. So it's the same body style as Tracto?
yep, same body style. You can't tell a lot of difference between them. It sets a little bit lower. It's got a little bit meaner of a stance, but there's not a lot cosmetically different between them. Where the underlying stuff is where you really see it. We did some stuff on the 4-link, and a lot of TMS did a lot of titanium stuff for us. We just changed up a lot of little things on the car that you don't really notice.
Nice. And so 2 cars, 2 different combinations. I know we don't have a schedule yet. Will you have Goldie? Will Goldie be ready to go? Are you going to use it week 1, race 1?
I couldn't tell you which one I'm going to use first. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to give both cars 100% workover. I'm going to take Little Goldie, and I'm going to do all the tuning myself. And I'm going to see how fast I can go with this car. And then I'm going to turn over everything to Triangle Speed, Craig Bouchard, on the old car, the turbo car, because I don't claim to know much about turbos at all. I know the fuel tech really well now, but I don't know much about turbos. So I'm going to turn that whole program over to him and see where he can take it. And he knows, as well as I know, whichever car is the fastest is the one we're going to race. So either he's going to be helping me with a season with a turbo car, or I'll be tuning the new car myself.
Yeah, and obviously I'm guessing the reason for 2 cars is to give yourself the best chance at being number 1. I mean, that's why you do this, is to win. Did you ever? I mean, you've been around since first season of No Prep Kings, Scott. Did you ever imagine that No Prep Kings would get to this point where you where you need
No,
two different
no.
cars, two different combinations, and
If
it's
you'd
great.
have told me that I've never won a main event on a Saturday by now, I would say that would be crazy. That I figured I could have lucked my way into a final or winning one or something, but it just hasn't happened for me. I've won like some team attacks and some Friday night deals, and I've made it to the final several times. I've just never had that little bit of luck, and my car hasn't been the fastest. I've had a top five car at one point, and and it just didn't never work out for me. But these cars that we're racing against, man, it is absolutely insane. And to have two cars to figure out which one's the fastest just to try to get one win, that blows my mind. I've 100% effort. If I don't win a race this year, I can tell you it's not from the lack of trying. I'm doing everything I can do. I always say, not to brag on myself by any means, but I can drive a race car. I just got to have one a little bit faster.
Yeah, right. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think. Like I look back at season one, and there was small tire cars in the Invitational. There was like legitimate like street cars, and they were winning. Like they were going rounds, and it's just like it's a totally different ball game now, man. It's night and day difference.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, when you start, on no prep, when they don't put any glue down, and they don't sweep they don't do anything to the track the whole day while you're racing, unless there's oil. They clean up oil, but for a no prep deal, and you start the time slip with a 3, and then you you start getting even faster than that. A 3 something is not even fast, but when you start getting way faster, you know, top threes, I get you outrun all day long, and that's just insane. I mean,
It is.
I mean, we don't give our time slips out that much, but I'll tell you this: I can go 9, 20, 60 foot on a 34-inch tire on no prep, which is absolutely insane.
Man, yeah, that is that is. Yeah, I mean, like the times you got to run to be at the top is insane to me. It's just so
Yep,
fast.
yep. There was some times floating around this year, and just to be frank, they were, the guys that were the absolute fastest last year. Um, they were only, it's a lot, but they were only about 400s faster than me. And, I'm going to say 700 separates the entire field.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right, 100%. It's crazy. Um, as always in the off season, Scott, there's the hot topic is always rules and changes to rules. And you've been on the committee before in the past. Um, and now you have you have one of the new combos. You're going with twin turbos. What do you think? Do you think there'll be any drastic changes to the rules? And do you think do you think turbo needs? I mean, I know there's always the argument with the F130, the F4 136, and then the overdrive for the screw blowers, but it seems like turbo needs to do something because it just last year was not happening with
Yep.
the turbo
Yep. So,
combination.
So I'll give you my opinion on all of it, and it's not just because I'm going turbo or because I have a Pro Charger car. Just basing it off of what time slips I've seen and how the cars are running. I'll say that I feel like the 136 was about 50 pounds too light. I feel like that combo was 50 pounds too light. I wouldn't say it, if I was all for myself, because my new car could run the 136. I could be at weight, no problem. It's 200 pounds lighter than the old car. Um, but so I think the 136 was 50 pounds too light. I think the 141 was 50 pounds too heavy. So
Mm,
I think they should have met in the middle on that deal. Add 50 to the 136, take 50 off the 141, and made those blowers a little bit closer. The reason the racer in me chose the twin turbo, and the reason I say that is I don't see them adding any weight to twin turbo. I only see some type of an advantage. Like I see, worst case is them leaving it alone. Best case is they take another 100 pounds off of it, or they allow the bigger turbo at a different weight. Um, I went with that combo hoping that they see how bad that combo is struggling, and they try to take something off that combo.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Um, it's always the what about the overdrive? So the '98 overdrive, they had the '98 overdrive at the Arizona race, I believe. was the first one. Do you think that's probably going to stick now for this season?
You know, when we took that few percent away, um, every single one of the screwblower guys said how much it was going to hurt them. Every single one of them. When we added it back, every single one of them said it didn't do anything. So I don't really know. I mean, that's the racer in them. I mean, how can you give up your secrets? You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
but I don't know if it helped them or not. You know, when we took it away, I knew it wasn't going to hurt them much. Um, you know, we called every source out there. You know, we called some of the best pro mod racers in the country. You know, from Brandon Snyder to, you know, the guys with Proline, my engine builder, Jimmy Rector. We called all these guys and said, hey, how much is taking this few percent away going to hurt them? He said, nothing. He said, it's going to take 1 pound of boost away from them, and it ain't going to slow them down. And everybody acted like it did slow them down. So that's a tough deal. I don't see it making a difference, to be honest. If No matter which way they go, people are going to get fast, and that ain't going to be the end all be all and be the fastest car just because of a few percent on the overdrive.
Right. I agree, Scott. And I always say it just comes down to someone that can. Luck is a big thing. Luck really is a big thing when it
Oh,
comes to the difference. You know what I mean? And it's leaving on the light. In my opinion, the race is won or lost on the light, especially after this season. But
yeah,
that's just from a fan watching. But
yeah. I wish they could. You know, I gave them a way to fix that deal, and they used it a long time. And I know they don't like to talk about it, and nobody really likes to talk about the light, but I wish just deep down it could go, you know, 300 Pro Tree. And the reason I say 300 is because some people go red at 400. When we start the Dirty South back, um, our no prep series, me and Mike Murillo, I think, you know, I haven't even talked to him about that, but I think I'm going to go with 300 Pro Tree and award the people with the best reaction times. Right now, if you do 400 Pro Tree and you go a little bit red just because you react fast, um, so you sort of go in red just because you react fast. But if you go 300, that allows everybody to really see how good the drivers are.
hmm yeah, for sure, for sure. So besides the new car and besides the new combo and track dough, is there any other changes you made to your whole race program this off season?
I mean, that's as big a change as I guess I could possibly make. Two new cars, twin turbo. I mean, I don't know what else to do. Hey, nobody got fired in the off season, so uh,
Hey, there you go.
I still got Heather here. Uh,
Hey, hi Heather.
I'm here.
I still got Mike Cameron, my main crew guy. I got Todd. Todd Butterfield is an absolute gangster. He's a super crew guy. You know, he knows a little bit about that whole race car. He knows the ins and outs of every aspect of it, and that's just huge. And so he's a big benefit to our team. And then Craig Bashar, you know, going to be back on the keyboard a little bit, helping me again. So same team,
Nice.
lots of new stuff to play with.
Cool, man. That sounds good. I'm excited for you. Let's get a little bit into the season. Talk about the 2023 No Prep King season. Last time you were on the show was like I think it was during the break. It was in July. It must have been during the break of No Prep Kings. In the middle there. Um, but let's talk about your season, Scott. You finished 19th in the invitational points. You finished 15th in the grade 8. And I'll be honest with you, Scott. Those are not Scott Taylor numbers every single season that you've been in No Prep Kings. Let's talk about the struggles because that when we met at that break, that might have been around the turning point because you were doing really well towards the beginning of the season. So what were you struggling with? What happened? Why was Scott Taylor a little bit out of his groove this year?
Man, I got every excuse in the book. You know, I mean, they all sound like excuses. You know, I had problems, and it wasn't nothing that I could put my finger on and get rid of. You know, we had those type problems that you could fix, and you could go test and test and test. You show up round one, and it happens again. And that's the type problems we had. And like I say, it just sounds like a new excuse every week, but so we went out first round 6 weeks in a row, and we had a parts failure 6 weeks in a row. Something that wasn't a wear item. It wasn't something that I could put my finger on and fix. It wasn't like Scott Taylor Motorsports didn't service their car and they wasn't ready, they wasn't prepared. It was an item that's not supposed to break, and it broke 6 weeks
Oh
in a
wow.
row. Six
Damn.
different things, by the way. And it was,
Wow.
I didn't want to make the next race. It was so bad. You lose 6 races in a row, round one, after you normally, like I say, I'm obviously not the most winningest guy out there, but I don't normally go out round one every week. So,
No, not ever.
that it was tough on us. It was tough to even finish the season. It was tough on the morale for the team.
Our marriage.
And she said it was tough on our marriage. She said every week, what are we doing wrong? How do we fix it? I'm like, man, if I only knew how to fix it,
Right.
But for example, we had a coil go out. That's not something you replace every week, And then the next week we had an injector driver go out. That's something that lasts the whole time of a car. And just little things like that, a sensor or a wire broke in the burnout. Just these little things, and it just added up. And when you go out 6 weeks in a row, round one, guess what? You're not in the top 10.
Yeah, that's correct. So you're speaking about the grade 8 is when you went out first round, or are you speaking about Saturday?
Saturday, we did main event Saturday.
Let's not even talk about that.
Yeah. So okay. I thought you're right. Yeah. To get into the grade 8, you had to get. You also lost in the first round. I think your first 6 grade 8s as well. Was not to like harp on that, but was that the same? Was that when you're I'm the stat guy. That's all I got is running my numbers running through my head. Was that to that too, or was that more getting there right away and one hit?
There was no parts failures whatsoever. Just got outrun. Just wasn't quite fast enough. 0 parts failures in the grade 8 that I recall. We did not have the fastest car there, and the grade 8 are the fastest cars there. So we were in the grade 8, but we just had some rough draws, on that deal. There's no good draws in the grade 8, by the way, but but we were a couple hundredths off the pace and couldn't find it. We tested and tested and tested, and it wasn't like we were going slow. We just didn't speed up as much as everybody else did, and like I say, that's why we changed combos. I don't want to get caught stuck with one combo again. My heart's with Pro Charger, but I'm trying to do something different to know that I have a backup plan, and it might be the main plan. I told Pro Charger that I'm going to run the fastest combo, and also the HPT turbos. These guys work with me, and they have high expectations of the program, but it's a one or other type deal. Now I do have something working with the other car that I don't race. Actually, probably will be at MPK, so I'll talk about that soon. But got some pretty good news coming up on a really, really good friend that's going to be possibly racing the other car for the season. So
that'd be cool. That'd be nice.
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask if you're gonna take both cars to the races, and where will the location of the race depend? Like, say both combinations you're running really good. Will the race? I mean, if you're gonna go a Vegas race again, or compared to like the East Coast, are you gonna use a different combination based on that?
I'm sure. That's if you have a bunch of tools in the toolbox and you get out whichever tool you think is going to be the best for the job, and I think we'll get out whichever tool is needed for that.
Yeah.
Whichever car is needed for that altitude, or I think Turbo Car's got its place. Pro Charger struggles up in the hills, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's I like the plan. That's an awesome plan. Like you said, use the best tool for the job. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the team competition a little bit. That was the first season doing the team deal. Possibly the last, but that was the first season doing it. Let's talk about the team competition. You were on Murillo's team almost all season until you were traded towards the end, to Sean's team. Talk about that whole trading aspect of it and how that all went down for you.
It was definitely a hard deal. We rode with Murillo all the way through, basically to the end of the season, and unfortunately, as a team, we couldn't go any further. Um, During the beginning of the year, I did really well. The first 6 races, we were drumming up some pretty good points for our team. Um, and then towards the end, I was doing so bad. When Sean asked to get me to trade, I said, I don't know that I'm worthy of a trade. I was sort of down in the dumps about that whole deal because Murillo had even came to me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna trade you off. Are you okay with it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So that got me thinking about it, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Man, if you trade me, make sure you benefit," is what I told him. I said,
Yeah.
"Don't trade me unless you benefit," because I'm really good friends with Murillo, so I wanted him to
Mm-hmm.
financially benefit if he traded me, and
Yeah.
so he ended up doing that. He ended up trading, and it sort of got funny. We ended up, wheeling and dealing, throwing a Burmax in. A Burmax scooter had to get in there somehow.
Oh yeah.
Um, but we ended up wheeling and dealing. Me and Murillo, like I say, are really good friends, but I didn't deserve to be traded. I really, really sucked this season, and we're gonna do what it drives me for this season because I'm telling you, if one car ain't doing good, it's gonna get parked. Um, we have a backup plan that I don't want to ever get myself in that situation again, and because when you are going out round one over and over and over, it's hard to drive 20 hours
Man.
to the next track. I always said
Yeah.
if I wasn't competitive, I wouldn't go, and last year was very tough.
Yeah, man. It definitely had to be frustrating for you, Scott, especially when, like you said, it's just parts that are breaking that aren't supposed to break. You're doing all the right things, and it's still bad luck. So, when you got traded though, was it the second to last race? I believe third to
Yep,
last race,
yep.
something like that. But I remember when it happened, Sean's team wasn't mathematically out of the team competition. Like it still had a chance to win it. I think he was like fourth place at the time. Did you guys talk about that? Like, hey, was there an expectation? Like, hey guys, we're trying to win this yet?
Yeah,
Clearly,
absolutely.
that's why he made the trade. That's why he spent money to do it.
Absolutely. I'd even sent Sean some time slips and said, "Hey, man, this is what my car runs. If it'll stay together and if it'll act right, this is what it can run." Um,
Hmm.
and the car always goes down. It always makes a trip. It's just, we had those failures, and um, but we definitely was wanting to win the championship. I mean, that's the whole reason for it, and you know. I wanted Murillo to come out financially, and I wanted to win a championship. And the next to last race or whatever it was, we went a few rounds. I think we made it down to 8 cars or so. We went some rounds, but just didn't pull off a win. But we were giving it 100%. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, for sure. What were your feelings overall about the team concept being in the first year in No Prep Kings?
You know, uh, it was tough. I like Murillo a lot, and I like Birdman a lot. And it's just tough, because you're almost it's statistics, and like Birdman has been struggling, and um, it's tough when you get on a team with your friends, but you think that you might not necessarily have a shot because the ET of the cars, and that doesn't change the friendship, but it also changes sort of the way you're thinking about where you could possibly finish in the season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it had to be weird for you and the NOLA guys, just because you guys were a really good, fast team to get split up and having to do other teams. And then, like you said, you're used to your expectations of yourself is to do really well, and to be on a team that wasn't doing well. I mean, and it just had to be frustrating for you, Scott. And I feel for you, man. I
it
really do, because I know how hard you put. I know how much hard work you do and how much time you put into all this.
it was really tough, and I love those guys as friends, and I literally tried to help. I tried to. I mean, Murillo, he was all about it. I mean, I'd never tuned a turbo car whatsoever. Murillo handed me his laptop and said, "Get after it." And I made about 7 hits on Murillo's car tuning it. So
Hmm.
he was really open to trying to figure stuff out, and his car did get faster. Right at the end of the season, he was making some really good licks. He started finally figuring some stuff out on his own, and Harry. Um, with HPT and Eric. Those guys was really starting to figure some stuff out towards the end of the season. Birdman started making the trip a lot more. I begged Birdman to let me I told him I would loan him a Pro Charger combo for his car. And he didn't want to do it. But I told him I would, do the zoomies and the Pro Charger and everything. Just all he had to do was do the motor, And
Yeah.
so it didn't work out. But I tried everything I could do to get our team faster. And, I worked at it all the way until we were mathematically eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate to let's talk more positive. Let's talk about the goals for season 7. Let's bring some happiness into this interview. I apologize.
No,
so
man,
obviously,
it's all good.
Season 7, your goals. I mean, your goals. You're bringing 2 cars, 2 combinations. I mean, you want to win, right? You want to win a championship this year.
The goal is to win. If we have a car that deserves to win a championship, I want to win a championship. If we don't have a car that deserves it, I don't want to win it. I don't want to race against broken cars. I don't want to race against, I don't want it to necessarily be a lucky win. I mean, I'll take it any way I can get it. But my lifelong dream right now is to win a race with stiff, tough competition every single round. And that's what I want. That's what I want for our team and my family and everybody that's been behind me, all of our partners. I really want to win one of these deals flat out, and we're going to do whatever it takes to do that.
Hell yeah, man. I really hope that happens for you, Scott. So you mentioned that you were possibly going to go to a race this weekend. I know I saw Kai going to the race. Bobby's going to the race. We don't have it. We don't have a.
That made it much tougher for the record.
I bet. So we don't have a schedule yet. Do you plan on doing any No Prep Kings no prep events before the season starts, or small tire or anything like that?
Yep, for sure. I don't know exactly where I'm going or what I'm doing. We got a few races we're going to go do. Top Dragster. We're going to race Top Dragster with my partner, Michael Scott, Wright Trailers, over there. He's going to let me borrow his ride. And then we're going to do some no prep races. Don't know which ones just yet. Sort of going to try to fit those in between testing. It really depends on how testing goes, because I'm not going to let small tire distract me too much that I can't test both cars a whole lot.
Right. No, yeah, you're right, man. That's true. I didn't think about that.
If we were racing small tire, I would be testing small tire. But since we're going to be racing big tire, that's where I got to focus if I'm planning on having a good season.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you a kind of a weird question, but so we've seen Mike Bowman has a pro mod. Swanstrom is now either going to drive a pro mod or he's building a pro mod. Will we ever see Scott Taylor go down that road and race a pro mod in the future?
I definitely ain't gonna say no. It's it just depends on where we go with NPK. I think we got a few more years left in us, man. I really do. I don't see it going anywhere. I think there's lots of talk out there on the internet, but I think things are gonna pick up, and I think they're gonna keep on going. I'll never veer away from NPK until they don't call me and say, let's race NPK. Sam and Jen, those guys have been so great to me. That's where my loyalty's at. I'm not going to say I won't go race other races when we're not doing stuff like downtime stuff, but my commitment is NPK until the day it's not called NPK anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you, Scott. I think I literally see this every season now of people, the fans getting upset that there's no schedule, there's no rules yet, there's nothing yet. And every single season it comes on TV, and we also have a new season of racing. So everybody just be patient. It's going to happen.
It's I guarantee there's a reason behind everything. It's all going to come out.
Right. Exactly, Scott. So if you got a question for those watching.
So Heather just said she hoped they lost it on all the losses we had.
Yeah, it's just not going to air that season.
They didn't lose the video.
I would actually pay good money to lose it.
It's going to be tough to watch.
We ain't watching that, I promise.
I'm going to watch the first 3 or 4.
And the next to last.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna turn my cable off for those.
If you're watching right now in the chat, if you got any questions for Scott, put them in the chat. Right now, I don't want to keep you guys all night. I know you guys are getting ready to eat. I did. If there was there any enjoyable? What was an enjoyable moment from the 2023 season, Scott? If you had to look back.
The team deal. I guess getting picked round one. I think we went third pick. That was a good feeling. That was, hey, we finished top 3 or 4 every single season. We got picked third. It felt, that part felt good. Going some rounds, going to the finals, the first couple races, and we were definitely making some rounds for our team right off the bat. So we were enjoying ourselves the first couple races, and then like Heather said, after we got down in the slump, the last race of the season, we were ready to be done. So that was enjoyable.
It was depressing.
Yep.
Just looking at some of the questions here. I don't know. Can you see the questions or not, Scott?
I was trying to look. I didn't know if it took me off the screen when I looked or not.
It does not. No.
Okay.
There's
favorite
one.
track. Greg asked, "What's my favorite track?" Bristol, Tennessee is always going to be one of my favorites. We did one of the first NPK style races there, and to drive onto the tower with full stands is absolutely crazy feeling. That was one of my favorite for sure. Blake Jury, Scott, are you actually running 370s? I mean, consistently. Can't really talk about numbers, but the cars are rolling.
They're fast. Someone asked if you were going to ever do a, where did it go now? Oh, a drag and drive event. Yes,
absolutely. I wanted to do it this year, and I actually wanted to do it with my C10, just something really, mild and not crazy, not a crazy race car. But my C10 is very drivable. I could drive it anywhere, but I've been racing it really hard, and I had a few issues and just didn't have a chance to fix it. End up being a super minor fix. I got it fixed right about when I should have been at over there for sick week. But I'll definitely do. Sick week is probably the one that I'll do next year. Me and Mike Scott, and I'll get a bunch of info from Alex Taylor, and try to go over there and do that event.
Nice.
Philip asks when the season will start. That's a pretty common question, but I'm still gonna go with, I'm gonna throw it out there to mid to late April is my guess. That's strictly a guess.
Michael Freist asked, I'm guessing when you talked to Mark Mickey, he said, did Mark Mickey encourage you to go with turbos after he set the record?
Well, I have been working on this combo for much longer than that.
Right.
Last year when we went to Australia, we were planning this turbo deal, and actually we already was well on our way of getting everything we needed to make it happen. We were in Australia so long, and we were so tired from being over there. When I came back, we just didn't have enough time to pull it off for the season, and the car was running really good with the Pro Charger combo at the time, and we just decided not to do it. But the turbo deal has been in the books for me for a solid year. But Mark Mickey is definitely an inspiration, but he was an inspiration not here recently, but over a year ago he was an inspiration.
Nolan has a question for you, Scott.
All right. Oh my gosh. I appreciate it, Nolan. So Nolan, nobody knows this, but Nolan, me and Alex are brother and sister, and Nolan is our grandfather. And not many people know that, but yeah, Nolan Jamore is our grandfather, and that's how it all ties together.
Wow, Nolan is old.
That's what he gets for that one. That's awesome.
Roy Allen wants to know if you think they're going to stick with the team concept for this year.
I do not. I do not think they're going to stick with that. I hope that it goes back to parking with my homies. So, not that I didn't enjoy parking with Murder Nova, because he has become one of my favorite out there here recently, but or the last year. But I definitely miss parking with my homies, Bobby and Jerry and Kai, Gates. Even Lizzie. I know Kai and Lizzie are not a thing anymore, but I wish we could park just how we always parked and go right back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say you and Mernova, you guys are like almost best pals now. It seems like, which used to not be the case.
Yep. It was.
I don't know about now that we let him down after we joined his team.
She said we let him down a little bit, but he used to give me a pretty tough time, but he's been nothing but nice. Him and his wife, they've been fantastic. They're really good people, and looking away from the racing stuff, and I never really followed his stuff, but I see a lot of stuff he posts now, and man, he's a great guy with great kids and our kid and 18-year-old. He's barely a kid. He just had a birthday, but I see all their stuff now, and he's just he reminds me a lot of the same things we do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like the Australia trip was the turning point in you guys.
For sure. Yeah. We didn't have any vehicles, man. We were over there 5 weeks together. We rode together a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, Scott, I don't want to keep you all night. I know you guys are getting ready to eat and stuff. I just want to say I thank you for coming on the show again, man. As always, I am a Scott Taylor fan. I've been a Scott Taylor fan since I first saw you, and I think it was first season of NOLA back in the day. So I wish you the best of luck this year, man. I'll be at the first race. And thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Heather, for dealing with this interview.
Thank you.
Man, hey, dude, I want to tell you, I really appreciate you keeping up with the stats. Good, bad. It's always, I feel like I can go to your page, find what I need, and I know it's a ton of work. And from all the racers, I know everybody's probably told you before, but thank you from all of us to keeping up with that stuff for us.
Appreciate that, man. Truly. Thank you so much.
Except for last year.
Yeah, last year. If you can lose that, I mean.
Hey, if they don't air the season, the stats will just go right away like it didn't happen. So.
Perfect. Maybe I will see if I can make a phone call.
All right, guys. You have a good night. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye-bye.